Iran's 44th wave, and this time, they say they shot down an American plane. A US refueling tanker, 6 crew members, gone, mid-operation, mid-air. Missiles rain on Tel Aviv, Haifa, Eilat. Drones strike America's bases in the Gulf, all of it dedicated to the memory of Soleimani. Nasrallah, Haniyeh, Sinwar. Iran is not retreating, it's dedicating its strikes to the dead. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has launched what it calls the 44th phase of Operation True Promise 4, striking Israeli military positions and American bases across West Asia in one of its largest offensive actions to date. The IRGC announced the operation, saying it was carried out on the 23rd night of Ramadan and dedicated to figures the Corps considers martyrs of the resistance movement. Among them, General Qasem Soleimani, Hezbollah leader Syed Hassan Nasrallah, and Hamas leaders Ismail Haniyeh and Yahya Sinwar.
Areas in the West Bank, Tel Aviv, and Eilat in the occupied Palestinian territories were struck by powerful Iranian missile attacks in this proud operation, commemorating the memory of the martyrs of Tariq al-Quds and emphasizing the strength, particularly that of the commander of the True Promise operations, the martyr Major General Hossein Salami.
The IRGC said missiles like the Khorramshahr, Khaybar Shekan, Fatah, Imad, and Qadr struck targets in northern occupied territories, with the cities of Kiryat Shmona, Haifa, and Hadera among the locations hit. Drone strikes followed, aimed at American installations in Manama, Bahrain, and Erbil, Iraq, including the US Navy's 5th Fleet base. The Corps also claimed to have shot down a US Boeing KC-130 Stratotanker that it says was refueling an Israeli fighter jet mid-operation, killing all 6 crew members aboard. This came after the 43rd phase of the operation, in which Khaybar Shekan missiles, each carrying a 1-ton warhead, struck Tel Aviv, Eilat, and positions in the West Bank. Brigadier General Ali Fadavi, a senior aide to the IRGC's chief commander, said the balance of power in the region had shifted.
Power equations in the region have changed in favour of the resistance front, and this transition is the start of the decline of America's hollow dominance in West Asia.
The military offensive follows what Iran describes as an unprovoked US-Israeli assault on Iranian territory that began on February 28th, during which the country's former supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, was assassinated. Iran's newly appointed leader, Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei, has since outlined the country's strategic direction in his first public message. The commander of Iran's Khatam al-Anbiya headquarters, Major General Ali Abdullahi, meanwhile, vowed that Iranian forces would stand to the last breath, warning that the enemy would be forced to pay the price for its crimes.
The enemy will be forced to pay the price for its crimes.
The operations coincide with International Quds Day, with millions rallying across Iran as strikes continue across the region. A military base in northern Iraq hosting US and British forces has come under a coordinated drone attack, highlighting the widening regional risks of the ongoing confrontation with Iran. According to The Telegraph, on March 12th, multiple drones struck near Erbil International Airport, where coalition troops are stationed as part of the anti-ISIS mission Operation Shader. British air defense personnel managed to intercept some of the incoming drones, but others penetrated the defenses and hit the base. Guy Foden, Assistant Chief of Staff for Operations at the UK's Permanent Joint Headquarters, described the scale of the assault.
Erbil and Baghdad were both struck a number of times last night with increasing coordination. We have personnel in Erbil who are currently helping with the defense of that base. Last night, they shot down 2 UAVs coming at the camp, but a number of UAVs did impact on the camp.
British officials confirmed no UK troops were injured, although American personnel suffered minor injuries after several drones struck the installation. The attack is the third incident involving British forces since the start of the conflict. Earlier strikes included a drone attack on RAF Akrotiri and a missile landing close to British personnel stationed in Bahrain. UK defence officials say the tactics used in the attacks show signs of battlefield adaptation. Nick Perry, the British Chief of Joint Operations, said Iran appears to be applying drone tactics learned from Russia's war in Ukraine.
We have definitely seen the Iranian tactics of the use of their drones has learnt from the Russians. They are flying them much lower and therefore they are more effective. There is no doubt that those tactics have changed and being more effective and proving problematic.
British Defence Secretary John Healey also suggested Moscow may be indirectly assisting Tehran.
No one will be surprised to believe that Putin's hidden hand is behind some of the Iranian tactics and potentially some of their capabilities as well.
UK's support for US operations, including the use of RAF Fairford by American B-1 Lancer aircraft, could further expose British forces and bases to retaliation across the region. Meanwhile, a senior Iranian official has issued a sharp warning to US President Donald Trump, saying wars cannot be ended as easily as they are started. Ali Larijani, Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, in a post on X, responding to Trump's recent comments that the conflict must be won quickly, said,
Trump returned to say, "We must win this war quickly." But starting wars is an easy matter, whereas ending them does not happen with a few tweets. We will not leave you until you admit your mistake and pay its price.
As drones grow deadlier and tactics evolve, the battlefield is shifting fast. From Ukraine to Iraq, the lessons of modern war are spreading, and the next wave of this conflict may already be forming. "13 days into the US and Israeli bombardment of Iran, a picture is emerging that few in Washington or Jerusalem may want to acknowledge. The regime in Tehran is not going anywhere, at least not yet. According to a Reuters report, Iran's leadership remains largely intact and retains control of the Iranian public. Multiple intelligence reports, described as consistent, conclude the government is not in danger of collapse. That assessment sits awkwardly alongside Donald Trump's victory lap at a campaign-style rally in Kentucky on March 11th.
Most people say it's already been won. It's just a question of when. When do we stop? We don't want to let it regrow, and ideally would like to see somebody in there that knows what they're doing. In other words, they can build a country. Now, one other thing, we can hit sections of Tehran and other places that if you do it, it'll be almost impossible for them to rebuild their country.
Meanwhile, the Pentagon told senators in a closed-door briefing that the first 6 days of the war alone cost more than $11.3 billion. And lawmakers believe the true figure is considerably higher, since that estimate does not include munitions replacement costs. In Jerusalem, the picture is equally unsettled. A senior Israeli official told Reuters that in closed discussions, Israeli officials have acknowledged there is no certainty the war will bring down Iran's clerical government. No significant protests have broken out inside Iran since the bombing began. Iran's police chief warned on March 11th that anyone taking to the streets would be confronted, in his words, as an enemy, not a protester, with all security forces' fingers on the trigger. Netanyahu appeared to quietly walk back earlier hopes of a popular uprising, saying that while Israel's aspiration was to help Iranians cast off tyranny, it was ultimately up to them. Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Saar, in a closed briefing with foreign diplomats, declined to set any timeframe for the campaign and acknowledged the government in Tehran could survive, though he expressed confidence it would eventually fall. On the streets of Tehran, the mood is one of quiet defiance rather than revolt.
I hate this regime. I want it to go, but under bombardment, there are no streets left to protest in.
Meanwhile, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian set out Tehran's clearest public demands yet for ending the war, posting them directly on X on March 11th. He said he had spoken with the leaders of Russia and Pakistan and had 3 conditions to stop the war.
The only way to end this war, ignited by the Zionist regime and US, is recognizing Iran's legitimate rights, payment of reparations, and firm international guarantees against future aggression.
Those terms stand in sharp contrast to Washington's position, which has demanded unconditional surrender. The question now, after almost 2 weeks of war, is this: is America prematurely claiming victory because it has already lost?